My parents told everyone I abandoned them, but the truth is they gave me a choice: apologize for existing or leave. I chose freedom. Now they pretend I never existed, until they need something. Every time they reach out, I don't know if I should answer, or disappear forever. I was 17 the night my dad stood in our dining room and sentenced me like he was some kind of judge. His voice was tight and cold, his finger actually shaking as he pointed at me across plates of untouched food. You have 24 hours to pack your things and leave this house, unless you apologize to Natalie. Apologize. To my sister. For laughing. That was my crime. Laughing when she made a grand announcement about getting accepted into the local community college, as if she'd just been invited to Harvard on a full-ride scholarship. I didn't even mean to laugh, it just slipped out. I'd been stunned by how over-the-top my parents were being. They'd hired a caterer. There were flowers. They gave speeches. Meanwhile, when I'd been accepted early to Stanford 5 months earlier, my big celebration was a plastic bag of steamed dumplings tossed on the kitchen counter and a distracted, "That's nice, sweetheart." So yeah, the laugh slipped out. And apparently, that was enough to threaten the golden child's crown. Dad's face turned red, no, purple, as if I'd spit on the family name. "If you want to remain part of this family," he growled, "then tomorrow morning, I expect a sincere apology." I looked at him. Then at Natalie, who was wearing the kind of smug little smile that made me want to throw my fork across the room. Mom stared at her napkin like she was trying to decode secret instructions hidden in the folds. All I said was, "All right." No screaming. No begging. No dramatic exit. Just one quiet word. Their silence after that should have told them everything. But they still believed I'd eventually crawl back, crying and apologizing for daring to outshine the family favorite. What they didn't know was that I'd been packing a duffel bag for weeks. I walked upstairs, zipped it the rest of the way, and slept better than I had in months. Dad had threatened to kick me out before. It was his favorite tool: dangle abandonment over my head and wait for me to fold. But this time? I was done folding. My Aunt Rosemary pulled up at 4:47 a.m. exactly, headlights dimmed, her ancient Volvo rumbling like it needed coffee. I'd told her only to come if I actually called. She told me months ago she wouldn't beg me to leave, but she'd show up the day I was ready. As I tossed my bag into her back seat, she whispered, "You sure you want to do this, honey?" Positive. We didn't look back. We drove 5 hours to her quiet cabin near Arbor, Michigan, trees everywhere, the smell of pine, a small lake just behind the house. By the time my parents woke up to an empty room and a short note saying I made my choice, I was barefoot in Rosemary's garden, helping her plant tomatoes, my phone turned off and buried in my bag. I didn't realize it then, but that sunrise marked the beginning of the end for my parents' perfect little facade. Everything they built their image on was about to collapse, and all I had to do was disappear. Within a week, the first crack formed. Rosemary told me later, nearly choking on laughter, how my mother had called her in hysterics. "Tell her to come home," my mother screamed. "She needs to apologize properly." Rosemary calmly sipped her tea and said, "She's not a trained poodle. She's not performing tricks